Getting up in the morning is one of the hardest things we do. No one wants to leave the comfy sanctuary of their bed. I know I don't. It's a struggle for me every single morning.
Good morning, Logan.
Well, it's time for me to get up. Let me get dressed and I'll show you how I use Home Assistant to automate my morning routine. Hi, I'm Logan and this is Home Automation Lab.
Okay, now that I'm ready, let's start talking about this. My morning routine is controlled by the wake-up alarm on my iPhone. That alarm time is sent periodically to Home Assistant throughout the day using Apple's Shortcuts app. The automated routine starts about 30 minutes before my alarm is set to go off, with my bedroom lamp slowly fading up to simulate the sunrise. It gives my body a gentle push before the alarm actually goes off. The fader is a Home Assistant script I found from Ashley Biscoff, and I'll have a link to it in the show notes. Once my alarm turns off, my house wakes up and the bathroom speaker starts playing. My living room lights turn on into their daytime scene, the security system disarms, and my office fan turns on so the servers don't make the room too warm while I'm working. My bathroom speaker plays a gentle music that lasts for about 5 minutes to give me plenty of time to actually get out of bed and moving. The music I use is by N+ Music on Pixabay that I'll link to in the show notes. After that, a quick briefing telling me about the weather for today plays through the text-to speech engine, followed by my morning news podcast while I'm in the shower and getting dressed. Right now it's NPR's Up First and TechCrunch's Daily Crunch, but I'm open to suggestions if you have any. An hour after my alarm goes off, which is more than enough time for me to get ready and out of my bedroom, the bedroom lights turn off, ending my morning routine. It's a simple and effective morning routine that helps me get my day started. As I add more automations to the house, I want to include more actions like turning on my bathroom lights and exhaust fan and turning on my office lights. For the morning routine to work, Home Assistant needs to know when I wake up. Originally, I had planned to have a helper that I would need to set manually every day, but that would be a little tedious. I also thought about using the calendar feature in Home Assistant, but this also requires manual intervention when my wake-up time changes for like holidays or days off. Instead, I opted to go to the source, the wake-up alarm on my iPhone. With the Shortcuts app, I was able to get this into Home Assistant. I have 3 helpers to keep up with the alarm information. A Boolean helper that just indicates whether or not an alarm is set, a time helper to store just the time of the alarm, and a templated sensor helper to convert the time into a date time that I can use with the automation trigger. That last one really isn't necessary, but I have a couple of different automations using that timestamp, and I didn't want to duplicate the templated code. The Shortcuts automation itself is simple. If the alarm is set, it turns on the Boolean helper and sets the alarm time on the time helper. If the alarm isn't set, it turns off the Boolean helper and no morning routine will run. I've exported the automation file and have included it in the show notes. This automation runs at set times throughout the day to ensure that Home Assistant gets the information that it needs, just in case Home Assistant can't be reached in the event of like a server restart or if I'm outside of the house, which admittedly doesn't happen that often. Apple doesn't really provide a way to periodically run the script, so you have to create a schedule for each time you want it to run. I have mine set for 3 a.m., 9 a.m., 3 p.m., and 9 p.m., and that just gives me a very good coverage of the day, especially that 3 a.m. one, just in case I change it at the very last minute. Within Home Assistant, I have 2 automations, one that controls the lighting and another that does the actual routine. The lighting alarm triggers 30 minutes before my alarm. It checks to make sure my alarm is set to go off today and that I'm not already awake. It starts the light fader script, waits for the lights to get up to 100% brightness, waits for another hour, and then finally turns the bedroom lights off. I've added a blueprint script that does all that you can find at homeautomationlab.tv/blueprints and in the show notes. The morning routine automation triggers when it's time for the alarm to go off or when my awake Boolean helper is turned on. It starts by getting the episode URLs for the podcast I listen to, plays my morning briefing through the TTS engine, and then plays my podcast through the VLC Telnet media player integration. There isn't a way to easily download a URL and provide the response in variables in a Home Assistant automation or script, so I wrote an integration that does that for me. I made it open source and you can find it in the show notes. You'll just have to install it with the HACS add-on. The media player bit is a little wonky. If you let the actions just run, it'll end up sending the play command over and over and over again on top of one another without waiting for the actual action to finish up. So I wrote a couple scripts to help with this. One is just waiting for the media player to be idle, and the other plays the TTS message and then uses that wait script. I've added both scripts as blueprints that you can find on the site and in the show notes. And there you have it, my morning routine with the Home Assistant. Now that I'm awake and ready to start my day, it's time for me to get some work done. If you like this video and want to follow my journey making my home an automated paradise, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tickle the bell icon to get notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.